prepared for. Hopefully that's just a sign of more to come, right? So, all right, let's go ahead and get started. We should be all set up here. All right. Good afternoon. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for March 6th, 2020. SPY is going to close around the intraday high of the day here, but still down 1.6%, and Q still down 1.7%, erasing that move lower there. So we just closed, and so we will get to see kind of the final numbers here, the final price here on the Qs and the SPY. IWM also got the rally, not quite as strong. IWM has been showing relative weakness to the other two, SPY and Qs there. Okay. Now, coming into today, the bias was if we break underneath this daily sell setup, then we will be bearish, expect rallies to get sold. And for the most part, that rang true just up until these last 30 minutes, really. So you can see we initially rallied and then got sold. I'm not sure if some news came out or something to change things up. But even if that's the case, we should expect more volatility moving ahead. So strong moves like this. We saw that strong move when the Fed came out and lowered rates there. So what I'm starting to anticipate is we're gonna get a similar base to what we got in here. Okay, last summer, okay, end of last summer here. Remember all this choppiness, a lot of volatility. Market had a similar steep drop, okay, and then we got into all of this, right? And when we got into this mess here, right, we often looked bullish and bearish, kind of almost alternating days. Seemed very bullish on this day, right? And then we gapped below it, negating that bar and looking very bearish, right? And then before you know it, we're back up here where the resistance was. So after this, right, the bias became, let's just use this kind of sloppiness as our line in the sand. Above it, we're bullish. If we break below it, bearish. So I'm getting kind of a similar look here, and on the Qs and SPY here, look at that. So it was looking like it was going to break out. Notice it didn't, and then got hit hard, right? And so kind of just using the resistance and support that we have defined, right, helped us from kind of getting chopped up or getting in early only to get kicked back out and then watch it go back up, and then this getting chopped up in this stuff, right? So what I'm anticipating is we may get that moving forward. So that's something that we will just have to be more nimble. Now, if we get this broad range, right, it's starting to look more and more like that's the case. All right, we will need a few more days here to see if that's what we're going to do, spend more time within this range. But for now, we do have this sell setup in place, okay? So like I told the room, going into Monday, market bias is going to be bearish, okay, because we do have this sell setup. Now, if we start to transition on the hourly, okay, which is that the hourly starts to produce a higher high and a higher low, and the higher low follows through, then we'll be looking at a neutral bias, even without taking this. Now, in order for us to be bullish, in my opinion, we have to cancel out this sell setup that's in the way. Okay, so on the Qs here, over 219.61. On the SPY here, that's going to be 313.84. Okay, so if we gap over this on Monday, let's just say really good news comes out or some kind of relief happens for all the kind of pressure that the Qs and SPY have been experiencing because of the COVID-19, and we gap up here, right? Okay, then we're going to be back to bullish, no longer bearish. Now, if we start to show strength in base and we start to move back up without even taking it out, I think we're going to be looking at more and more like that situation from last summer. Now, does that mean it's going to resolve higher or lower? I think not able to tell yet, right? We're going to do the same thing though. So it's looking like for now that this may be the top of the range, this may be the bottom of the range, right? And if we start to really go oscillate in between, I don't really see another way to kind of read the market, but acknowledge that we got a sloppy base going on. Okay, so we'll see if that's how it turns out. For now, gonna remain bearish going into Monday. All right, if we get a decent enough rally, even without taking this out, that's gonna put that bearish bias into question. But for now, daily sell setup, that's gonna be the plan going into Monday. So it was a little bit more straightforward, I think, before we got this rally here. But still, at the end of the day, I don't think it changes my approach going into Monday. Okay, so we'll have to see what we get on Monday. If this green bar actually gets follow through. Okay, that'll be the question. If we need to change things, but going into Monday, bearish bias. Okay, so just noticing how kind of choppy today was. And it reminded me of the choppiness that we got last summer, end of last summer, right? Where we were getting a lot of back and forth. And if you go back to the hourly during this time, you can see that hourly was spending time above the 20 MA, below, above, below, right? So it was chopping around and trendless. So when you get price moving back and forth across the 20 MA, it means that it's trendless. It's just chopping back and forth. It's not moving in one direction, right? So unlike, the hourly uptrend that we followed all year up until this point, right? And then recently this downtrend that we've been following all year now, right? You see we're back below, we're starting to roll over again, right? So we are going to be bearish, but we are looking to see if this green bar that we got here at the end actually gets followed through. That's going to make us less bearish, okay? But still bearish bias going into Monday. So, that was kind of the bias coming into today. And for the most part, for most of the day, that would seem to be on the right side of things. We got a nice pop here at the end. So we'll just keep an eye on it and see what we get on Monday. Okay. That was a very active week. Hoping that next week is more of the same. I thought we had a lot of nice plays today and all throughout the week. So, hopefully you had a nice week. Get some rest, and we'll be back at it on Monday. All right. I'll talk to you guys then. Have a good weekend, everyone.